Full disclosure, the voice you are listening to now is artificially generated, brought to you by satisphonic.com. See the link in the description for more details. What company will go out of business in the next 10 years? I hope it's Ticketmaster. Never going to happen, but let a guy dream. Dreaming has a $12.87 fee. I'll tell you who will still be in business. That Persian rug store with the big ass going out of business sign in the window. It's like the opposite of the Taco Bell next to me. They've had a grand opening sign up for over a month, but the thing is, they have been in that spot for at least the last 20. Every day is a grand opening, if you love your job, which nobody who works at Taco Bell does. So yay, I don't know what that is all about. I lost my job there Friday, but Carvana. I've thought Carvana was on death's door in the past, but there's always some news or article that indicates a revival of sorts. And I hear their ads all the time. Is their downfall real this time? I'm sorry for your job loss. Is their downfall real this time? It's a borderline philosophical question. It looks like major car manufacturers like Toyota and Honda still have very low inventory of new vehicles for sale, and sales of new cars are still quite high. I would say that Carvana and the likes of it, e.g. Vroom, skyrocketed when the car shortage was the most dramatic and during the pent-up demand that followed it. And while I quite like the concept, I don't think their business model will survive the drop in demand if car sales slow down. In other words, if manufacturers see the decline in sales, they can employ a lot of tools and use different incentives to offload what they have. Carvana has been well known for massively overpaying for lightly used vehicles to win a market share, and it worked when new similar vehicles were hard to get. If this constraint vanishes, Carvana has a good chance to vanish along with it. Who would be willing to pay $35 for a 3-year-old car with 50 miles on it if you can get a new one for $30? $7 from the dealer with 72 financing? Redbox, every time I check a kiosk, it's just full of a bunch of old movies. It seems the release to theaters, then streaming killed the need to rent DVDs. Yay, funnily enough, at least here, DVDs are a hot commodity at libraries. I looked out of curiosity, and just of the last Black Panther movie alone, my library had like over 200 copies and a long wait list for some time after release. Just checked, and there's still around 80 copies checked out.
Really surprised me, but I guess it makes sense if you don't have streaming and/or internet.
That makes sense. It's a public service that benefits seniors and low-income families that might not have as many viewing options. But why anyone would pay $3 to rent a physical copy of The Hangover 3 when you could stream or buy it from a service for $5? Boston Market. It still exists? More like 10 days, not years. Boston Market is flailing as it faces lawsuits tied to unpaid bills, store closures, and state fines for unpaid wages. This is so sad. They have the absolute best mac and cheese, mashed potatoes, spinach dip, and chicken on demand. I used to go as a kid before my dad left, and he'd get the chicken carver. I went to one a few weeks ago, and they had no rotisserie chickens left. Woof. They were also using the dining area as storage for straws and napkins. It was just sad. It'd hear the drive-through girl start every transaction with, "We have no rotisserie chicken for the next 2 hours." Netflix's brick-and-mortar stores opening in 2025. What the fuck? They're still not gonna sell fucking Blu-rays. It's just that corner of the Target electronics department with all the Stranger Things Funkos, but a whole store. That's a strange corner. I know exactly what you're talking about. At our local mall, the Express and Expressmen store turned into one giant Funko store. We're talking a store that's not much smaller than an Old Navy. All Funkos. It's kind. Actually, they said it would be restaurant live entertainment experience, so I am expecting sets, actors in cosplay, and maybe some exclusive shorts that you can only watch at the restaurant. Still could flop, but it won't be just a retail outlet. So like Jackrabbit Slims with Netflix characters? Oh good. Glad to see where that extra $6 a month is going. Glad to see they're investing it wisely. Should invest it in more better content. Bring back Mindhunter. Netflix is making blockbusters now. That's incredible, and I'll probably only go one time. Time is a flat circle. Rite Aid, already closing a bunch of stores. I could see them all being gone within 10 years. They filed for bankruptcy last week. We'll try to use that to wipe out some debt. That won't be enough. They will get swooped up by Walgreens or CVs, or go entirely out of business. Walgreens is grossly overpriced. I went there during lunch to get some generic Walgreens brand Zyrtec. $23.99 for 30 pills. What the fuck? At home, I have a Costco Kirkland generic Zyrtec. 365 pills for $14.99. Walgreens can kick rocks. Blows my mind when people shop at Walgreens. I think most of their business is people that stop in to get prescriptions and then pick up a few things. I have tried to do that, but I'm not paying a 75% markup for convenience. But the ice cream. Thrifty's ice cream was a staple of my childhood. Probably the one I work at, since it's full of dumb fucks. Lol. My previous job was with a company that was pretty good, had contracts punching well above their weight. Literally no reason to fail. But the coup was the most incompetent person I've ever met, let alone worked with. She was truly awful. 3 of us, 1 sales, 1 support, 1 project manager, all decided together we were leaving because we just couldn't handle having to apologize and make excuses to customers anymore. 6 months later, the company went into administration. I think dildos.com is pretty robust. Unfortunately, probably your local newspaper. We were. God was loved that company. Couldn't get enough of that dumpster fire when they tried to EPO a few years ago. Good time. 90% of companies with business names ending in A. The hope is always just to get bought by one of the big tech companies. The big dream is Apple, since they vest all your options at the point of acquisition. Dickies BQ. I thought their stuff was expensive for what they offer 13 years ago. Not surprised to see the stores going out of business as of late. I'm in Salt Lake City. When they were expanding here like 10 years ago, one of their employees poured some chemical cleaner into their iced tea. Some mix-up with the mix. An elderly lady got chemical burns down her throat and almost died. Well, that pretty much killed their business in the valley. The big dream is Apple, since they vest all your options at the point of acquisition. Peloton if no one buys them out. I think their hope of being a mass brand is fading. Raising the price of their app for non-bike owners seems to be an admission that they need to focus more on the power users. Competition has really caught up as well. There's plenty of good alternatives, and with the brand fading, it's hard to justify the price and subscription fee when it isn't as hip as it used to be. They're back to competing with gyms and other outdoor workout options post-pandemic. In North America, I found them to be more of an East Coast thing for winter months, especially during lockdown. They paid millions to McKinsey for some management consulting, and the conclusion was fire a bunch of your workforce. That's why you hire McKinsey though, so that management can say, look what McKinsey made me do. That's every company who has ever hired McKinsey, ever. They were popular during COVID because everyone was stuck at home and couldn't go to the gym. Now that people have options again, they're just not worth the price. It's crazy how they thought they were going to take over the world when they were really just fitting a niche. This one smoke shop 2 blocks over from here. I think this is universal. There are like 25 smoke shops within a 10-mile radius from me. It's insane. They replaced Pizza Shop for cleaning money. If the GOFT follows through with its new tax program this next tax season, then TurboTax and all of those other scam websites. Thanks for the chats. I'm done replying. Very exhausting. I now see why you people still use TurboTax. IRS.gov says that ours, Car, My, and Nye are the current pilot states for 2024, and folks in the states without income tax, UK, FEL, H, NV, ST, Teen, EE, STT, Teen Tax, WA, and Y may be able to participate as well. It's pretty limited in scope. Covers any W-2 income, S income, unemployment, and interest of less than $1,500. Only covers standard student loans and educated deductions. Since self-employed folks don't have a tool, they can't be part of the pilot program. I hope the pilot goes well and they expand the use cases. Would be nice to catch up to the rest of the world on not having to do taxes ourselves, adding the link to IRS. Goff with the info huts, strategic, plan direct, 5. Oh, thank fucking fuck. I've been job hopping and working 2 jobs on and off since the pandemic and moved a bunch, and my insurance is absolutely stupid, so my taxes have been utterly stupid. Just send a direct deposit or let me make a payment plan, fuck. Guitar Center. So much has been said about this in the past 5-7 years, but they're still hanging on. Where will we go to try instruments out in person though? I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable buying a guitar online without playing it first edit. Very jealous of all of you that still have local mum and pop shop type music stores nearby. The one we had closed about a year ago, and I'm still very sad about it. I have such fond memories of going in there in my younger musician years. The staff was always so friendly. I think there's a little shop a few towns over, and I plan to go in there next time I'm in the area. How is Mattress Firm even still open? Probably like a piano store. All you need is a couple big sales a week and you're good. I think it's actually just a couple per month. Low overhead, one employee in a building with floor model mattresses. Everything gets delivered from the warehouse. Someone told me it's basically a low effort, low overhead business that you plop down on some investment land while you wait for the land itself to appreciate. Urban. It's the biggest game in town now for sure, but with shit customer service, zero cancellation policy, ridiculous prices, zero quality control. Second something better control. The second something better comes out, I hope they're going to go down. In the span of a year, they went from the cheap, convenient first option to the last resort pay out the ass option, to no longer an option for me. I will pay 30% more for a hotel than an Airbnb, especially if it's a large chain with some kind of points or loyalty program. Airbnb is so goddamn bad, I have no idea who is using them or why. They cost more, are less convenient, way more rules, and don't care about customers. I hope it's Fnatic. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I bought a t-shirt and hoodie through the official NFL site. They were both Fnatic's brand and ended up shrinking completely unevenly. Like the fabric panel on the front of the hoodie shrunk, but not the pocket, back or hood. Extremely low quality trash. Why the hell did the Null choose them? Because the Null has proven at basically every opportunity that it's the worst, dumbest pro sports league in America. Top tier sport, worst league. Maybe I'm just a bitter former employee, but rad power bikes. When I joined in 2020, we were the market leader in e-bikes. Having them shipped to your house and mobile mechanics, just a phone call away, was something that resonated with folks who were stuck at home during lockdown. In my time there, leadership ignored any and all red flags sent up. We had no spare parts. Our mechanic partnerships were falling apart. Our company became a revolving door as we never paid our experienced supervisors enough. C's went from a team of bike experts to a call center that had no clue. I was in a meeting with an agent who said, I've never ridden a bike before. Those who are left keep telling me it's just gone further into the circles of hell, and nothing seems to be reviving them. Edit. Just to be clear, I think their product is still decent. I have my employee bike still, a Radrunner Plus, and after 3 crashes, the thing still zips along great. I'm lucky I know my way around it though, since I had to fix the derailleur brakes and do some connection fitting. Altogether, it is a great bike. The issue is that the company just isn't a good place to work anymore, and they have horrible logistics. When the 2 founders were there was a balance. Mike was the head and Ty was the heart. When Ty left, so did any real concern for the care of the employees or culture. I admit I put more resentment to Mike. It turns out in hindsight he was duped by another Mike who was an exec who made selfish short-term decisions. He made his money and bailed, having left the company far worse for Ruddenbow to clean up. Either way, I saw union busting, gaslighting on safety, and inaction when customers would harass our women agent. A huge amount of their losses were from the brain drain of each layoff or disgruntled employee who had any expertise leaving. This company cemented my belief that employers exist to lie to you and underpay you. I've gone freelance, and I've never made more in my life. When the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I bought a t-shirt and hoodie through the official NFL site. They were both Fanatics brand and ended up shrinking completely unevenly. Like the fabric panel on the front of the hoodie shrunk, but not the pocket, back or hood. Extremely low quality trash. Most streaming services. At one point you could dump cable, subscribe to Hulu in Netflix, and you saved a bundle. Now there's 137 streaming services you have to subscribe to if you want to watch all the latest hot shows. Streaming might have been profitable at 2% money, but not at 8% money. That's why they welcome the writers or actors strikes. They're trying to cut costs with a chainsaw at this point. Then there's the Mulby, Opt, Fun, Fluck. Greedy assholes who want small fortune to watch your favorite team, but only in the area of their choosing. I predict much agony in the sports entertainment businesses in the next 10 years. Pirating is coming back. I'm back to stealing all sports and movies now because fuck these services that ruined a good thing. Ticketmaster God, I hope so. A man can dream. Unfortunately, by then Ticketmaster will probably be charging us fees for doing that too. We all do, but they're basically a monopoly on concerts. What would take them down? What would take them down legislation is probably the only thing that will stop them. Make their business model illegal. Crumble cookies. There's a sub for them, and dear Lord, some of the stories of current and former employees. It's a bad company, whether you like the cookies or not. Five Guys. 10 years ago, business was booming for them here in Virginia Beach. Every location always packed all day long. Back then, they had a dozen stores here. Then the prices started going up, not just a little bit or after a long time, but significantly and regularly. I made a comment a few years ago that they were going to price themselves out of business. Now there are only 5 locations here, and they are ghost towns no matter the time of day. A cheeseburger, regular fries, and a 20 Oz Coke is almost $25. That's fucking insane. They'll be gone way before a decade is up though. They might not make half that. Eat it. For the fanboys who tell me to quit making up numbers, I'm not. They really are this stupid. The one near me still has a magazine hanging pronouncing them the best $5 cheeseburger. They all do, I think, and they have to say, awarded in 2006. Five Guys was expensive fast food before fast food got expensive. My wife and I have this debate all the time. Do we honestly place all those places in one lump fast food category? Personally, I think a Five Guys is and should be held to a higher standard than a Burger King, just as I think a Chipotle is a tier above Taco Bell. Full disclosure, I love Five Guys, but I'll be fucked if I'm gonna spend $25 on a burger, fries, and a drink. $6.29 for regular fries. What the fuck, ka? Sears Kmart. In my state, both of those already have. Used to work at a Kmart, was simultaneously miserable and fun. Couple of us college guys got hired as a summer job because there was nowhere else to work, and they had no other options. They gave us busy work as if we were all going to mail it in, but we actually tried to use our brains and, man, was that a mistake. We literally rearranged the entire warehouse in a week to make it more efficient. Unfortunately, in that environment, efficient was not important at all. All that mattered was that nothing was disrupted, so none of the staff got confused. In our 2 days off, someone went out of their way to put everything back to its original state, and no one bothered to tell us why. At that point, we did mail it in. We had freedom to choose which products went on display, and we chose the most outrageous items, which was how sold anyway. We also had to deal with the jorts. I've never seen more Jean shorts in my life. The store was full of them, and they got delivered every day, despite none selling. Eventually, we ran out of space on the floor, so they started going in the back room. When that space ran out, they started taking over the literal warehouse in the back. Unfortunately, space there is also limited, so we ended our summer with approximately 2,000 pairs of jorts hanging from pipes on the ceiling of the warehouse. Years later, I'm certain that was illegal, but hey, it was efficient. The story of the collapse of Sears is wild. Them and Kodak are used in business schools as prime examples of how businesses can absolutely collapse if they refuse to evolve with technology. Sears had a mail order distribution network decades before Amazon. They went online long before other retailers. They had their own ISP prodigy, and they threw it all away. Cedar Rapids was the worst Five Guys I have ever visited. After being spoiled at the Omaha locations with huge portions of fries, we were shocked to see that all they did was fill the tiny cup. Probably the Body Shop. What do they even sell? Acute dermatitis? Being totally honest, I kind of have a thing against the Body Shop. Basically, they left the mall here quite a few years ago and recently came back demanding the corner spot where the chocolate shop was. Body Shop had been in and out of the mall quite a few times in the mall's history. The chocolate shop had been in that corner spot since the mall opened in the very early 80s. The mall told the chocolate shop they needed to either move or leave the mall altogether. They had to scrap the beautiful big display case they had because the only other spot was less than half the size. I'm a real estate lawyer, and it hurts when this happens. Tenants should always include a provision in their lease that prohibits landlords from relocating them. and did absolutely nothing with it. They gave up a lead to avoid cannibalizing their own product. Panera shitty overpriced food. Just got sued too for their 350 caffeine drink that killed a girl here in Philly. Edit. Yes, she had a heart condition. The lawsuit is about labeling and transparency. Edit 2. Just because there are drinks with more caffeine doesn't make this or those drinks safe. The level of caffeine consumption we're in our society is bonkers and unprecedented. Ever see a coffee cup from the 1950s or 1960s? They're tiny, practically novelty-sized small, but they are much more in line with the actual quantity of caffeine we should be consuming. Just a thought. Crazy cause you can get canned energy drinks with that much caffeine. Or 300 at least. Bob Evans. It's gone downhill hard, and their base is dying off leaving because it's so shitty. Even my grandparents, who used to say it was their favorite restaurant, don't go anymore. Mark's Pizzeria. Fuck you, Mark. The majority of pharmacy brands will be very quickly heading out the door. I would imagine that entire industry will collapse unless something radical happens, and they'll all end up as a single Optima. Branded pharmacy Rite Aid already filed for bankruptcy protection, and they are liquidating like crazy. Walgreens and Chevy's are losing billions a year and closing shops everywhere. Pretty soon, you'll have nothing but a drive-through window and one iRobot in a dark room serving up meds. Harley-Davidson's target market will be about 90 soon, so then, if YouTube keeps increasing the number of those unskippable ads. Pro tip if you're on mobile. For most ads, if you hit the little I button, hit block this ad, and then continue, it removes both of the ads immediately. Takes some time to do first, but when you get the hang of it, it's pretty darn nice. Only works on about 80% of the ads though. Please let it be DraftKings. I'm going to go with Funko. How many fucking figurines could people need? Fuck those toys. Funko is kept up by whales. Whales come on many forms, but the most common is someone who makes a decent income, but not enough to move out of their parents' house. They spend all the money they would spend on stuff like rent, gas, or groceries on Funko. As long as these people exist, Funko is safe. Don't think you realize how many businesses use them for stationery supplies. Just cause the stores don't look busy, don't mean they're not filling huge orders from companies that don't blink at the prices.